Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is a new series that I've been thinking of doing. These are my two friends, Adam and Alex. If you'd like to introduce yourselves.
I'm Alex. I'm the odd one out of the group. I'm a United fan. So, as you can tell by my eyes,
Ugh.
the last 7 years have been great. Um, yeah, just enjoying life.
Adam?
Hello, I'm Adam. I'm Liverpool and a Derby County supporter, and well, on the Liverpool side of things, it's all right. On the Derby County things, it is not all right.
No, it's not. All right, this is a new series
It's really
that we've all come up with. It's called The Ball Boys. So expect this at least once a week. For this week, got the last 10 games of Premier League fixtures on this game week. And then we've also got some upcoming transfers and some that have been confirmed as well. So to kick us off, we have the Arsenal-West Ham United game, which finished 2-1 to Arsenal. Anything to say on this game, lads? Did you see it? Or
I hate how Arsenal over-celebrate everything. It drives me insane. Credit where credit's due. Arteta has got them playing decent football. He's definitely come from the school of Guardiola, you can tell. I think West Ham might struggle this season.
Yeah, definitely. I think if you look at just the squad of West Ham, you'd think it's a decent squad, but they just don't seem to gel very well under David Moyes. But something needs to change, whether it's
Nothing gels well.
management, players on the pitch or up above. Because I know the West Ham fans are not a big fan of the board above, but something's got to change at West Ham.
When you have your captain, Mark Noble, calling out the board and their transfer policy because they're selling youngsters to rivals,
yeah,
that's crazy.
Grady Diangana was sold to West Brom for like £18 million. And Mark Noble, obviously, he's so invested in the squad. Then they sell him for what he deems as a it doesn't meet the value that he puts to the player. And like,
well, no, because you're right. Callum Wilson went for more.
For all we know, they've sold him because they want to balance the books. Like with the whole coronavirus and everything, everyone's kind of got less funds. But it's still a sale that it's very hard to digest for West Ham fans.
Jamal Lewis, again, a team in the Championship now, 17 million. Mm-hmm. A Premier League team should be selling to another Premier League team for that sort of value. That's disgusting.
Yeah.
Shows a real lack of ambition.
So for Arsenal, Eddie Nikita seems to be getting a lot more game time under his manager. It's difficult to stay confident because you know you're not really going to be in the first team with those two there. The next one is, you're going to like this, Alex. 3-1 Crystal Palace versus Manchester United. I'm going to let you have the majority of this. I'm pretty sure the viewers on my channel are going to want to see this from a perspective of a Man United fan rather than two Liverpool fans.
Pain. Life is pain. No, okay, in all seriousness, a lot of people are angry at two different areas of United at the moment. A lot of people are directing their anger at the Glazers and Ed Woodward, and a lot of people are saying that Ollie's tactical nuance doesn't exist. A lot of United fans seem to think there's only one or the other. I like to think there's a bit of both. Palace was the best example of that, I think, period. I do not think Paul Pogba should have been playing, and that is no disrespect to him. That's not saying he's a bad player, but I think any player who's just come back from COVID is clearly not going to be a fit player. The reason we bought Van der Beek was to substitute Bruno or Pogba, and we did not play him. He did not start. Pogba was clearly struggling. By the 40th minute, you can tell misplaced passes. He wasn't running back. You can clearly see he was knackered.
To add on to that, because as soon as Van der Beek came on, he was so positive. If he started from the beginning, It would have been a completely different game.
Yeah, the other issue is Lindelof, and I was a very big admirer of Lindelof. However, if you're getting bodied by Wolfers Zaha, and he's out-strengthening you, a player who's notorious for going down in the Premier League at the slightest of touches, there's something very wrong with your centre-backs there. Bailly is the better centre-back. However, Bailly is made of glass. I think any player that has less than 6 assists in 6 seasons needs a good looking at. And Luke Shaw is definitely one of those players at the moment. But I do think he is so suspect when it comes to positioning and tracking back, which forces Maguire to end up having to cover for him, which then leaves Lindelof on his own.
Yeah.
You're going to get exposed.
Yeah. Credit where credit's due. Palace were brilliant. I mean, Roy Hodgson put on a tactical masterclass in that game. Just to put it into perspective, 3 of your back 4 combined value of £145 million.
I think Patrice Evra said it perfectly yesterday. Ed Woodward may not be the main responsibility of what's happening at United, but he does put his trust into people who are not good enough. And Matt Judge, the man who's meant to negotiate and bring in the deals, he is one of the worst I've ever seen. I do think there will be a few changes at United from the perspective of the higher ups. But if the season continues the way it's going with the style of play that was on Saturday, United will struggle to get top four.
The most obvious change you could make right now is the manager. Is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the best option? I don't think so, especially when you've got Mauricio Pochettino just sat there unemployed. I mean, 80 million on Harry Maguire. At the time, people could have been like, kind of worth it, but he's not. He's not the level that Man United need. Throwing 80 million at like someone who's no better than James Tarkowski is a little bit sus.
Yeah, I think that's more, like I said, like more on the board and the negotiating team, period.
Yeah.
Alexis Sanchez is the best example of that. He was not there for the club whatsoever. He was there for cash.
He was pretty much earning a Chinese Super League wage in the Prem.
Yeah. And of course, that's going to upset your dressing room. If you think you're working harder and you see someone walking in earning that much cash, Pep Guardiola was a smart one. He refused to pay that sort of funds.
His man management and the relationship he has with his players, he's brilliant at. But the one thing I compare him with a little bit like an iPhone. It's brilliant at everything, but not at being a phone. If you know what I mean? It's just very bad at doing its primary job. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is brilliant at pretty much everything a manager can do, apart from, the main job, tactics. What is Solskjaer's plan A, B, C, D? There is no plan D. It's clearly obvious that if the tactics that he's employing in that match doesn't work, he's pretty much just like, it will come good eventually.
To be honest, there's a really, really bad poison at United, and I think you might understand what I'm trying to say in a minute. But when a player first joins United, they're a fantastic player. Obviously, Fernandes is the most recent one I can go with, but prior Ferguson, everyone we brought in had a really good spell when we first brought him in. Di Maria, Depay, they had very good first beginning spells, but then they fell short really quickly. It's no coincidence that when a player leaves Man United, they're still consistent outside of the club. There's definitely a poison inside Man United right now. They're failing to live up to that quality consistently. They end up going to the players of McTominay and Fred, where it's that sort of level of performance. It's good enough to get you Europa League, no doubt, but it's not good enough to win you a Premier League, and it's definitely not good enough to help you win any sort of cups. I didn't see any one player that went, I'm going to get that goal for us. We've got Pogba on. We've got Bruno Fernandes on, Martial on. No, none of it.
If you are Jadon Sancho and you're looking at this Man United team, you're thinking, hang on, I can pretty much walk into any team on the planet. Why would I go there? Moving on to the next game, otherwise we could be speaking about Manchester United for about 3 hours.
For 10 years.
So Leeds United versus Fulham. So two newly promoted sides going head to head. Any opinions on this game?
Leeds going forward, I think, are going to be this season's Sheffield United. My worry for Leeds is we've seen them ship, 3 goals in 2 games now?
6 goals.
Against Fulham and
7
Liverpool.
goals in 2 games. But they've also scored 7 as well.
Yeah, I think they're going to be fantastic. But defensively, I think they're going to be very fragile.
Yeah.
So I'm curious about how it's going to work out this season.
It's very obvious why they tried bringing Ben White back.
Definitely. He was definitely the rock in their side last season. He was practically what Rio Ferdinand was when he played for Leeds. Yeah. But there is some shining light in their play. They've got Clich, who's scored 2 and 2 now. Patrick Bamford, he scored 2 and 2. As much as everyone kind of had like this issue with him, where he had like a very poor shot to goal conversion rate in the Championship last season, but now he's had like 4 shots, 2 goals. So 50-50 in the Prem isn't too bad.
VAR and penalties, it's only been 1 week and I already hate it. And the Leeds game is the perfect example of that.
There was
just
2
tragic,
pens in that game. 1 for Mitrovic, 1 for Clich. Speaking of, Mitrovic got about 45% of Fulham's goals last season. I can see him emulating the same thing this season. How crazy is that, though, that their striker got 45% of their goals? But yeah, he is quality. He is a brilliant, brilliant striker. If he picks up the same amount of form that he does this season as he did last year, I can see him getting a move to a big club if Fulham go straight back down. I think Everton versus West Brom. I loved this game. This was one of the most entertaining games that I've ever seen. Game week 2. Calvert-Lewin, take a bow. But
I think we have to start with Slavan
Gibbs.
Bilic's red card.
Yeah. Oh, and also Kieran Gibbs. Like, I don't get it. Why would Kieran Gibbs push James Rodriguez in the face when he's a left back? James Rodriguez was playing closer to the right-hand side. He could have just crunched him in a tackle rather than making it so obvious and getting a red card. And then Bilic's red card as well. It was like, dude, there's no point arguing. It was a blatant red card. Carlo Ancelotti, in his post-match interview, actually compared him to Filippo Inzaghi, who played under him at AC Milan. Because what he said, as soon as he came into the club, he said to Calvert-Lewin, I had a similar player who played underneath me in AC Milan, and he's by far the best striker I've ever managed, Filippo Inzaghi. He scored over 300 career goals, and he made about 210 of those with his first touch. He's not necessarily going to make the game look pretty, but he's going to score a lot of goals.
Everton's whole midfield is completely upgraded. I find it absolutely insane. I think they're really going to push for the Europa or even Champions League spots this season.
Yeah, I in my Premier League predictions, I have them 7th, but if they place very, very well, that's just like the lowest that they can finish. If they did push on, the team to drop down would probably be Spurs. So on the flip side of this game with West Bromwich Albion, I think they made Everton look good. I mentioned it in my previous video. In my opinion, the only positive in West Brom's team is their midfield. Everything else is so poor. Dean Garner and Mateus Pereira, brilliant players with a lot of potential. It's very, very exciting to see someone like Mateus Pereira in the Premier League because he lit up the Championship last season. He did fantastic. But up front, they've got Hal Robson-Kanu and Charlie Austin, who just aren't good enough.
I think they would have learnt from Norwich. You don't wear, yellow and green as an away kit. I mean, I know Norwich won it as a home kit, but you're asking to go down, basically, aren't you?
Pretty much, yeah. But I'm expecting West Brom to be rock bottom come the end of the season. I think by far as well. Yeah. They'll be relegated 6 games before the season ends. Next game, Leicester City 4, Burnley 2. This was a very, very interesting game to watch. Harvey Barnes was fantastic. Barnes proved pretty much everyone wrong with a goal and the assist he got against Burnley. And Burnley are not an easy team to score against. They're a very, very good defensive team, especially with Nick Pope in goal. But they didn't do themselves any favours today, especially with the own goal. James Justin got a goal as well. Dennis Pryor, the one they signed from Anderlecht, scored an absolute screamer. But this one was a very, very exciting match.
Yeah, I do like Rodgers using the sort of 2 number 8s. They're always an interesting attacking side. Leicester will always start the season. I mean, even with Liverpool, Rodgers started the season absolutely brilliant, really pushing for it. And then at the latter half of the season, they collapsed because of the fitness or other reasons. They always end up collapsing. And last season for Leicester, again, they dropped them from 5th. Liverpool, you went from title challenges to non-existent. It's a bit of his MO.
I think at some point he was 16 points clear in a Champions League zone, and he let that drop within the last 12 games, which is criminal. Post-lockdown, their form was horrific. It was dreadful form. I mean, ours wasn't brilliant, but I think it's because we were just drunk for the last 11 games, just celebrating the title. I don't think our players cared. And they clearly are back at it now anyway with the win against Chelsea, which we'll be getting onto next.
I'm a happy man after that win. Yeah, I don't like Liverpool. I think everyone knows that. I respect Liverpool, but I cannot stand Chelsea's cockiness and confidence at the moment.
Yeah.
I think Fat Frank has a lot to answer for if this season goes wrong. A crazy amount of players have been brought in by Chelsea this season. Liverpool shut them up.
Yeah.
Liverpool shut them up. And it was brilliant to watch because everyone could go, Ollie's done bad or Jose's still not had it. But if you're spending that much money, man, you've got to be challenging for the title. There's no excuses.
Before the game even started, I was very confident of a win because I saw Chelsea's lineup and they threw a lot of their new signings in straight away. And I was like, we've just signed Thiago and he sat on the bench. Klopp knows why he's done that. He knows if you just throw Thiago in, he's not going to have the same chemistry with the rest of the team like, I don't know, a Jorginho Wijnaldum does or a Jordan Henderson. Anyone like that. It didn't make sense to just throw someone in straight away. And it also highlighted the issues they have with Kepa. I mean, Christensen's red card, he's just behind Mane. He's never, ever going to catch Mane. Kepa is running out for the ball. He shouldn't have done that. That was an awful decision. Because if Mane gets there, he takes one touch, he's round Kepa, and it's a goal. Fair enough. Christian shouldn't have done that. But in football, it's a split-second decision. He's thinking, I need to get Mane down, otherwise we're going to concede. However, on the flip side of that, going a man down is much worse than conceding a goal. Because if you concede, but you've still got 11 men, you can just regroup and be like, we've still got 11 men on the field. Fair enough, we've conceded a goal, but we can just absorb all the pressure and then counter. When you're down to 10, you just have to defend for your lives. You can't even anticipate the chances of you winning the game. You just have to soak up as much pressure as you possibly can and maybe break. And that's what Chelsea were trying to do. But we were way too strong. The run he did to block Kepa's pass was brilliant. He was about 20 yards away from the ball as Kepa had the ball. He had the ball in his feet and Mane was 20 yards away. And Kepa did a whole Karius moment and passed straight to Mane. Bang, goal. It was 2-0. And then Alisson with the penalty save as well.
I thought Liverpool played brilliantly. I think if Alisson didn't save the penalty, Thiago would have been spoken about, maybe not in such a high manner. But here's my point about VAR earlier. I don't think it was a penalty.
Oh, no, 100% no.
Oh, definitely.
And this is my issue with VAR.
Yeah. I kind of respect that they kept the penalty the way it was, because I think if the ref didn't give the penalty and then VAR looked at it, they wouldn't have awarded it. But because the ref did give the penalty, VAR didn't really have a leg to stand on to then withdraw it because it wasn't a clear and obvious error. There was still contact.
Refs.
It was too soft.
Refs need to check the screen.
Yeah,
refs
they do.
Need to check the screen.
They need to check it way more.
He did check the screen for the red card, and I give him credit for that. Refs hold a lot of pride where they make a decision, they go and see it on the screen, and then they think in their head, I'm going to look like a fool if I then overturn my decision. But he's putting his job over his pride, and he's thinking...
We need to rename that.
Go on.
We need to rename it a Johnson.
Johnson.
If you go back on your own decisions, you're now a Johnson.
Okay, yeah, let's do that.
Why not? Let's keep that.
The ball boys terminology. Here we go.
I was very happy to see you guys because at the end of the day, if you're going to be title challengers, you need to beat the title champions, and Chelsea couldn't do it.
It's the polar opposite of when you come up from the championship, you need to beat the teams who have come up with you because they're clearly the weakest in the league. So same with the title challengers. Now that we've just beaten Chelsea, it really shows weaknesses that Chelsea have. Like Zuma and Christensen together in the back line was not a strong partnership at all. Zuma's good. I like Zuma, but he needs a commanding player next to him. Thiago Silva, perfect example of that. But like pretty much it's like 60% of the players that Chelsea have brought in, they're all injured. Ziyech's injured. Thiago Silva's injured. Pulisic is injured. I know he's not a new signing, but he was brilliant for them at the end of last season. I mean, with the Christian red card as well, it brings even more issues for the next fixture.
There's more pressure on.
Lampard has confirmed they have signed Mendy. He's on a medical today.
I think that's the end. That's the end of Kepa.
He wants nothing to do with Kepa anymore.
Yeah, Lampard did say that he's bringing him in as a competition for Kepa, but I think he's just saying that for the media. Saying that for the media.
That's like us bringing in Telles for Luke Shaw, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Are you sure we've got you some competition?
This game proved me wrong so much in my Premier League predictions. Brighton beat Newcastle 3-0.
I think you need to rename it Shawn Michaels versus Newcastle because that was a hilarious switch in music. That red card was ridiculous. What happened?
Yeah.
In the heat of the moment, you think it's all like flashy. Caught him nicely in the face of his studs.
They were thinking they were in WWE with that one.
They didn't have Martin Dubravka in goal. I think he's injured at the moment. They had Carl
they
Darlow in. He didn't have a good game, obviously.
Brighton are a brilliant team. Absolutely brilliant.
They are. I've not given them enough credit in my predictions. I think I messed up a little bit. I was supposed to put West Ham 17th and Brighton 14th.
But they've got a very, very, very good defence.
It's a very traditionally English defence.
Yes.
They are.
Yeah.
And I have to say, Tarek Lamptey, one for the future. He just emerged from nowhere, and he's done very, very well. Lewis Dunk as well, a fantastic defender. And no wonder why he was linked with Chelsea. I still understand why he's linked with the big clubs, because he's proved it for at least 3 years now in the Prem.
No disrespect to Brighton, but I think he does need to go up a little bit in terms of a club now.
I just don't see them doing it under Graham Potter. He's still relatively an unproven manager. He's got the best surname in football, but besides that, I don't really know.
Your cousin,
I don't really know.
Graham Potter for Brighton is much better than what Chris Hughton was. Yeah, he wasn't brilliant for them. He just didn't get the right performances out of his players. Graham Potter, he's very good at his man managing.
Yeah, Graham Potter does play decent football. He does play quite nice, attractive football. I can't be biased.
No.
I do think I think we're going to see a few changes in managers this season, as we always do.
David Moyes or Slaven Bilic. There you go.
I think Eddie Howe will be the new West Ham manager.
If I was Eddie Howe, I wouldn't do it. You're literally managing.
Stay clear.
Ship.
Stay clear.
Yeah. It's just a doomed job. The boat's pretty much halfway underwater already. Why would you jump on that?
Yeah, I don't cry every time I see Thiago in a Liverpool shirt knowing it was so close. Doesn't bother me at all. Genuinely, it was true. In an interview, we had it all ready, and then Mr. Moyes showed up and went, don't know much about him.
Oh, that one. Yeah, because he ended up signing Marouane Fellaini instead of both Kroos and Thiago in the same deal.
Yeah, this season, this season, no. But the season 2013, we just finished coming back from the Premier League, and Ferguson had it all ready for it, and Moyes came in and said no.
The next game definitely has someone who scored 2 goals that Adam absolutely loves. It is Tottenham versus Southampton. Ings with 2 goals. Son with 4. For a Jose Mourinho team, I did not expect that at all.
I think after watching All or Nothing, Jose walked into the dressing room, picked up his shoe, and started hitting them all. That's the only way. Just started smacking Son. That's the only way I see it happening. I think the addition of Gareth Bale is going to be absolutely terrifying, though.
Son, Kane, and Bale. I'm so sad it didn't work out for Danny Ings at Liverpool. I thought he could be fantastic for us. He showed last season how good he can be.
I think if Rhian Brewster can kick on and prove himself if and when Klopp puts him in the starting 11, he could be what Danny Ings would have been if he wasn't injured so much for us.
Definitely. I can see that. As long as he's not missing penalties in the, Charity Shield.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Harry Kane getting 4 assists is like unheard of. He's usually.
I'll hold my hand up. He proved me wrong this game. I thought this is the last season he's going to have a Tottenham, and it's going to slightly plateau. He's not started off the season like that.
I think he's very, very happy with this season because it hasn't started in August. And he hates August.
Yeah, I say he's missed the August curse, hasn't he? He's loving life.
September 12th, he's like, yes, goals galore.
He'll be causing COVID left, right and centre at this rate.
The next game, Man City Wolves.
City are fantastic, but I still don't see the leadership that they've lost the company.
I know what you mean.
In that squad.
Especially David Silva leaving as well.
Yeah.
I have to admit, City played brilliant.
They definitely dodged a scare because from the 78th minute onwards, Wolves were all over them.
In question of fitness, to be honest, that game could have gone either way. If Wolves finished their chances, the one-on-one chip, for example, Wolves could have gone ahead. City played brilliant football. De Bruyne is in a class of his own. Everyone knows that.
100%. Most goal contributions from anyone in the Prem in the last 2 seasons.
I guess that's the difference between Ollie and Pep, is that they had the same exact sort of scenario. Pep just makes it work. He finds a way, and it's painful to say it.
Pep and Solskjaer are very, very similar with the way that they deal with their players, as in man management. And keeping them as confident as they possibly can.
And just booting Joe Hart off.
Yeah, but also what Pep is good at is keeping his promises. If you're a Man United player and you've just worked your socks off to get Champions League football because of the expectation that next season someone like Jadon Sancho is going to be sat next to me in the dressing room, and then that doesn't happen, surely you're going to lose some sort of motivation.
With the talks of Jadon Sancho, Pogba's contract renewal came in play. Yeah, it was all looking like it was going to be a very good summer. I don't think Jadon Sancho is going to be joining United anymore. I think the board will go for an official bid. We know what the price is. It's going to be £108 million. I think we were expecting sales of Chris Smalling, Marcos Rojo, and Sergio Romero. I don't think those happened.
No.
I think there's going to be, like I said, a lot of issues at United now, because the biggest problem is if you knew you weren't going to get Sancho, why can you get a right winger?
Ismail Lassar could be a brilliant option for Man United at a fraction of the price of Jadon Sancho. He'll cost you around 35 million, maybe a little bit less if you want to negotiate with Watford. But at 22 years old, he'll be good. Yeah, you probably will. You'd be like, I can't be asked to negotiate. Let's just give you all the money.
Yeah, that would be a good deal. Like you said in your previous video, he is a diamond in the rough. But with a striker training him and coaching him, I think he'll do well.
Yeah, definitely. Well. I mean, United also love to sign players who score against Liverpool. So
if you go to Ollie's house, there's just like a picture of Sarr there. It's just like...
One day.
It's got pictures of just anyone who's ever scored against Liverpool ever.
So, your opinions on Phil Foden? Do you think he'll be starting for City more often this season? He seems like the heir to David Silva's throne.
Yeah. Much I hate to say it, guy's got brilliant dribbling technique. He's, you know what, he plays simple, and that's not meant to be rude or offensive.
Yeah,
it works. His
work.
His goal against Wolves was just a nice clear left foot into the net, but it wasn't trying to be fancy. It was just a nice simple touch, nice simple shot. And I think it works. Play simple football, and you get rewarded.
The next game, and by far the most boring one on our entire list, Aston Villa 1, Sheffield United 0. This is literally a carbon copy of the game that began post-lockdown. But that isn't the game that we're talking about. This is the game. John Egan got a red card within 12 minutes, and by the end of that, Sheffield United, the game was over. Not necessarily that they couldn't snatch a draw, but in terms of them winning the game, all chances were gone. And that was made pretty clear when Konsa scored.
The penalty save, to be honest, is quite nice to see. A keeper saving a penalty on his debut for Aston Villa was quite nice.
Emiliano Martinez,
I think he deserves it. He's been in Arsenal's bench for a long time.
Yeah, he's got injured, played brilliant. Yeah.
To be honest, I think it's a brilliant deal.
Arsenal have just signed Runnison or something. Don't quote me on that. But from Dijon, he's definitely going to be sat on the bench, but he's not as good of a backup keeper as Emiliano Martinez is.
Definitely not.
But you never know. Arteta might have a good goalkeeping coach on his books who could work wonders with him. But Bernd Leno, considering he's a pretty injury-prone keeper, having someone in who's not Premier League proven could be a massive risk, because Leno could be out for up to like 6 months with like a broken ankle or whatever, because he does get injured quite often. And then you've got this unproven 25-year-old from the French league, and you stick him in goal in front of a defence which is already pretty suspect. So to end the first episode of The Ball Boys, let's just go over the Premier League table. So the bottom three, you've got West Brom in 20th, Southampton 19th, Fulham 18th. Southampton, they're definitely going to push on. They've lost 2. And then,
they lost 9-0 last season, and then were one of the stronger sides.
Yeah. And then top 4, you've got Liverpool 4th, you've got Arsenal 3rd, Everton 2nd, who started this season brilliantly, and Leicester 1st. If you enjoyed my previous 2 videos and you've enjoyed the first episode of Ball Boys, please drop a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.